Hello, everyone. How is everyone on this Friday afternoon? Give me a thumbs up if you're good. Nice. Those are some good thumbs ups. As you guys are coming in, set your Zoom up to speaker mode, just so you can see me as the spotlight. It'll be a little bit easier to do the craft from there. And so you can focus on me instead of the rest of the other participants in the class. We'll give everyone about a minute to funnel on in, and then I'll go ahead and get started. I see everyone starting to do this in the meantime, but while we're waiting, please write in the chat box where you're from. I would love to know. I'm from Atlanta. I'm here currently. I've been here for about 3 years now, and it is where I call home.
We are getting a lot of responses. People are from all over Tennessee, Maryland, California, Florida, Colorado, all over.
Beautiful. Someone said, can it be louder? Am I not loud enough? Hopefully, maybe just turn up your volume if you possibly can. I'll try to talk as loud as I can. I know the audio is picking up from my screen in front of me. Some people can hear me, that is good. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So to introduce myself, my name is Taylor. Like I mentioned, I'm in Atlanta right now. I actually work at Sharpie. I'm an employee. I absolutely love working at Sharpie. I've used Sharpies my entire life. I absolutely love crafting, drawing. Obviously, we're doing a calligraphy class today, but I'm excited to kind of share my passion with Sharpie in general. Today, we're going to be using Sharpie paint markers, but I'm excited to kind of be here with all of you guys and share my passion with this amazing brand. And, you know, one of my favorite parts about my job is just working for such a great brand and something that is so, you know, well known across the whole country and honestly, probably the whole world. So we are doing the calligraphy basics of calligraphy today. So if you did not sign up for that, that is what you're getting. Hopefully everyone is in the right spot. And I'll just go ahead and get started. Maybe just to get to know you guys a little bit more, feel free to write in the chat box, number one, any questions that you have, or I'm going to be asking questions throughout the class. So like I mentioned, if you have any questions, put them in the chat box. Our lovely moderator, Alex, will read them out, or Eileen, whoever wants to in the moment. They are my two lovely companions helping me out today. So if you do have a question, put that in the chat box, or if I'm moving too quickly, or if you want me to redo something, or slow down, please let me know. I'm here for you guys. I want to help you guys learn this. And yeah, I'll start off with just a broad question. You know, a lot of us are either learning from home or working from home, but everything has been through a screen. So everyone share in the chat box a funny time or funny interruption that you've experienced when on a video call with either work or school that maybe gave the class or your employees a laugh. I'll start while you guys start filtering that into the chat box. I work from home every day, and I have a roommate that works from home every day. And she took a lunch break in her room and decided to blast Hannah Montana, some reruns of Hannah Montana, and was singing the theme song as loud as she possibly could, and people on my call heard it. So I thought that was really funny. I don't know if you guys have any funny stories like that you want to share in the chat box. If there are any, Alex, please feel free to share.
None so far, but I think, oh wait, we just got one. Work call, my bird flew over to me, landing on my head.
Oh, that's pretty funny. What kind of bird do you have?
I'll have to wait for Joe to answer. Okay. That was a sun concur parrot. Oh,
wow, that's
cool.
funny, Joe. That's hilarious. See,
That's
just so
so
you know,
funny.
we all got to make light of the situation that we're all in.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go ahead and get started. So, oh, we have a few more. Alex, read off a few more and then I'll get started.
Okay, we have, while in a family reunion on Zoom, my sister's husband walked by in his underwear. I feel like that's a risky happened to a few people. My dog sneezed on my phone while I was on a Zoom call. And then somebody said their dog was just barking her head off at another dog walking by.
Love when that happens. That's a classic one.
Yeah. I'll read one last one. It says, I was blasting Drake and my daughter's teacher said to turn it down.
I like you. Big Drake fan too. Okay. So yeah, like little fun stories to get us started. So, oh, I also want to point out that this is being recorded. So if you guys want to watch this class again, I've been informed that it will probably be uploaded on michaels.com around sometime on Monday. So if you want to watch this again or create a different sign for a different event, feel free to watch this recording again on Monday. Yes, I will go over the supplies again. So I was just about to do that actually. So everyone should have this in front of them. You should have a blank acrylic sign. It should be see-through like mine is here. Obviously, you probably don't have any sort of calligraphy on it right now, but this one is complete. So this should be your main canvas for today. So not only should you have your acrylic sign, whether it's the same size I have, the 17 by 26, or a different size, anything works. You should have a pack of Sharpie oil-based paint markers next to you. I have the assorted pack. For today's class, you really only need 1 or 2 colors. So I guess as I'm talking through the supplies, what I'd recommend if you haven't already, Sharpie oil-based paint markers need to be primed. What that means is the tip of the marker, let me open up one that's not primed. So the tip of the marker, when you first open it up for the very first time, has this, the outside of the marker has this plastic around it, so you can just throw that away. But when you open it up, the tip of the marker should be white. Felicia, if you don't mind switching to the overhead camera. Perfect. So you'll see the tip of the marker is white. So that is perfectly normal. That is how it's supposed to come in the packaging. So what you're going to do is prime it. So what that means is you're trying to get the paint flow through the tip of the cap. So what you're going to do is just shake it, I'd say for maybe about a minute, like I'm doing so. You're going to hear there's like a little metal ball inside the paint marker that's just moving the paint around and getting it to the tip of that cap. So you're going to start, like I said, for about a minute, shake the marker a little bit, and then take a piece of paper, scrap paper, if you have around you, which you'll probably need for the rest of the class. Take a piece of scrap paper, and then once you've shaken your marker for about a minute, just press down on the tip, maybe about 5 times, and repeat that process. Shake for about 10 seconds, press down on the tip a few times, and what that's doing is helping the ink flow through. So while I walk through the rest of the supplies on our list, just keep priming your paint marker that you want to use for your acrylic canvas. So what we're doing today is we are creating different signs. Sorry, Alicia, if you don't mind flipping to the front camera. There we go. So we are creating these acrylic signs with calligraphy on them. And I encourage you guys to use this for different events. So I have a friend named Jessica and John. They just bought their first home about a few weeks ago, and we are having a welcome home party for them. So I created this sign for them to use during that event. I recommend if you have a bachelorette party coming up, or a baby shower, or a friend's birthday, virtually, or a wedding, virtually any large event coming up, you could create a sign like this. And it's obviously going to save you a lot of time. So I'll save you a lot of money. So you could create, you know, a happy birthday sign with calligraphy, maybe a wedding guest seating chart sign for a wedding. So virtually you can do anything with this. Again, I'm going to teach you and walk the demo through with this exact phrase, the welcome home Jessica and John sign. But as I'm walking through it, feel free, if you have an event that you know about that's coming up, feel free to use that as your event to write out the acrylic sign for. So we have provided a sheet of paper that shows how different letters look with the calligraphy technique that I'm going to use. So if you're not following exactly this this event, the welcome home Jessica and John sign, and you want to do something else, maybe that says happy birthday and there's a letter on here that I might not go through, feel free to use that kind of template to refer back to, so you'll know exactly how that letter looks when you're going to write it out with your calligraphy. So the other things, hopefully you guys are still priming your markers and it's working for you. It might take like, you know, a few minutes. Other things you'll need, like I said, your prime Sharpie paint marker. I would pick 1 or 2 colors. And depending on the color you pick, I use white actually. For the sake of my table, it's kind of hard to see, but when you hold it up like this, the white is really nice against almost any kind of backdrop color. So I would recommend white if you're using this to lay on like an easel back pad or against a dark surface. This would look really good. But if you know that this is going to be leaned against a lighter surface, maybe use a brighter color like red or purple or blue or maybe even black to have it stand out that way. So other supplies you'll need are just a few pieces of scrap paper. You'll see why we need these in a second. We're probably going to use about 4 to start off with. You can use more if you want to start over. So about 4 pieces of scrap paper, and then I have some tape. Not necessary, but if you have some tape on you, that would be really helpful to at least help with the first part of our project. And then last but not least, if you have a ruler in front of you or just like a straight edge or something that'll help you draw a straight line, that could even be another sheet of paper. I have this kind of straight edge right angle thing. I'm going to use this because it's the only thing I can find in my house. I don't have a ruler. So those supplies as well as a pencil is all you're going to need today. Any questions come through, Alex?
No, we've had kind of one question asking if this was permanent, and I think it's permanent, and your idea was that you could purchase more acrylic signs, more Sharpie paint markers, and make these for different occasions, right?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. So yeah, if you I have this welcome home sign. This one is already complete. So I can't necessarily, with the Sharpie oil-based paint markers, those are permanent. So I can't necessarily erase this and use the acrylic sign again. So that is why I have more than just one. And we'll start on a clean slate today. But yes, no, Alex is correct. These cannot be reused for, different events. But luckily, this method will be a lot cheaper than if you were to hire someone to create fancy signs like this. Doing it yourself is obviously going to be less expensive. So I just grabbed my blank canvas. So if you have that in front of you, that would be great to grab. Actually put this on the side of me for the time being. And let's go ahead and get started. If you don't mind flipping to the top overhead camera, Felicia, thank you. So we are going to start off with just our pieces of paper. So what I would do here is I would just grab 4 pieces of paper for now. I just use white printer paper. If you have lined paper, that's totally fine. This is going to be used to kind of create the outline for what we want to kind of write out today for a message. And I like to start with paper because since this sign is see-through, we can use this piece of paper as our template and essentially draw over it with our Sharpie paint marker on the acrylic sign. And that will be kind of the easiest way to lay everything out and make sure everything is lined up and looks good for your final project. So what I'm going to do first, I have double-sided tape on me, but if you guys have kind of one normal tape, what I would do is lay the 4 pieces of paper right next to each other with the edges all touching, just like this, and then go ahead and just tape all of the edges together. If you have double-sided tape, what I would do is I would go ahead, grab a little bit of tape, put it on the edge of your top left white piece of paper, just like so. And I would take your second white and just kind of lay that right over it, just like so. So you now have this like long sheet of paper. And I'm going to repeat that same process for the bottom two as well. So again, I'm really just creating my kind of scratch piece of paper, my outline, before I go ahead and just start marking up my acrylic canvas with our permanent Sharpie paint markers. So this is just kind of the best way, especially for beginners, to make sure that everything is lined up and that your letters look, how you want them to look. So like I did the other way, I'm just gonna line everything up. Hopefully my head was fully covering that. Line everything up and tape it down this way. I'm gonna give everyone a second to do this. And then I'm gonna put this guy right there. All right, and so your final product right now should just be this large, if you don't mind flipping to the front camera, Eileen, or sorry, not Eileen, Felicia, there we go. So you should have this large white rectangular canvas to start off with as our scrap paper. I'll give everyone a second to do that. In the meantime, I have a question for you guys. If you've been on other Sharpie Michael's classes before, you may know the answer to this. So let's see who's a veteran in this case. So what year was Sharpie launched? Please write in the chat box if you know.
We've gotten one guess for 1953. I think everybody may still be taping. Oh, here we go. 1984, 1934, 1958, 1964, another 1954. Some good guesses.
These are great guesses. I heard one correct answer, the 1964. That is the correct answer. All of you guys are kind of in the same ballpark, so I'm impressed. You know your facts. You're obviously loyalists to the brand like I am. So good job. I will be continuously giving out these fun facts throughout the class, just to test your guys' knowledge. Why not? Let's have some fun. So if you don't mind, Felicia, flipping to the overhead camera. All right, so hopefully everyone is in this spot. So what we are going to do next is, I'm gonna stand up because this helps me. So what we're going to do next is, depending on what you're going to write out. So let's pretend, you're writing happy birthday, Taylor. You wanted happy birthday to be on one line, Taylor to be on the second line. Or happy birthday, comma, Taylor, or who knows, like bachelorette party, Taylor. Keep using my name as an example. So what we're gonna do here is just draw a pretty faint line to help us mark where the bottom of each letter is going to lay. So in my case, you saw my welcome home sign. So I have welcome home kind of at the top. I want it to be a little bit above the center fold. So when I say center fold, I mean literally right where these two pieces of paper converge. So I want the welcome home kind of to be my main point up here, with Jessica and John being a little bit smaller, kind of in the second third of this piece of paper, with that little first home emblem right at the bottom. So what that means for me next is I'm going to kind of measure out where I want each phrase to kind of start in terms of the height of our acrylic sign. So in my case, I'm going to start maybe about a few inches, maybe about 2 inches, maybe 1.5 above that center fold line. So I'm going to take my ruler, and all I'm doing here is just drawing just a line. Remember, I have a pencil. If you guys have a pen, that's fine. Really any type of marking utensil here, just to, like I said, kind of create our sketch on the piece of paper first. So this, what I'm doing here, now I know that this is where I want to create the welcome home phrase. So now with the Jessica and John piece, I'm going to want to start maybe about 1 inch or 2 inches below that center fold. So same thing here. I'm going to create that line across the way. And if you have an extra piece of paper, you could literally just do it this way as well, and measure out your line from there. I like to do this because it makes sure that my letters are straight, and then I'm not going at any sort of angle. And then last but not least, that first home little emblem I had at the bottom, I don't want it right above, so I'm going to make sure, put it right here. Excuse me. All right, so you can put that ruler to the side. We are no longer using that. So now that you have your lines laid out, we're in a good spot to actually start writing out our letters with our calligraphy technique. So like I mentioned before, if you don't want to create a welcome home sign, I know this is a very specific scenario. If you want to create a happy birthday sign, while I'm going ahead and recreating the welcome home sign with the letters that are involved in that phrase, go ahead and follow along on that template that we provided you guys with the other letters. And all I would suggest there is just if you're making happy birthday, really just eye the letter, and then follow the strokes as best as you can along with me. So hopefully, you know, if you're rewatching this as well, if you're doing a welcome home sign, that's great. You can literally follow exactly my technique that I'm doing. But if not, hopefully you guys have a good basis point at least to how to do this in the future or as you're following along with me. So one of the biggest things we're going to focus on the piece of paper versus the acrylic sign. I'm actually going to show this to you guys one more time. If you don't mind flipping to the front camera. There we go. Okay, so if you guys notice, in my letters, there's certain parts of the letter that are a little bit thicker than others. So you'll notice that all of the lines that are connecting the letters together are going to be your thinnest lines. And then on the kind of fattest point of the letter, where it's going to be a little bit thicker, those are usually kind of on the rightmost side of your letter. So keep that in mind as you are going about outlining your phrase. But on the paper right now, all we're doing is just outlining the lettering itself, not exactly where we're going to make the letters thinner or larger. Because that's what really gives it the calligraphy effect. But for the moment, we're just going to write out pretty much in script this phrase. So if you mind flipping to the top camera, Felicia. Beautiful. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with my welcome. And a good thing to notice here, so I know that the word welcome has 7 letters. The word home has 4. So I know that that's going to take a little bit more room than the word welcome is going to take a little bit more room than the word home. So keep that in mind as well if you're making happy birthday. Happy is going to need a little bit less space than birthday is. And again, the beauty that using pencil to start off with is that we can always erase any mistakes that we may make. So I'm going to start here with welcome. And so usually with my first letter, I like to kind of create a really long, nice, I don't know what we're going to call this, kind of line into the first letter. I think that always looks really nice. Here up so you guys don't see it coming over the camera. And again, if you guys have any questions while I'm doing this, please put it in the chat box. If I'm moving too quickly, if you want me to show something again, let me know. So I'm going to start with the welcome. And then in this case, I'm creating my script W, where the first kind of loop here is going to be a little bit shorter than my second. And the purpose of the line here at the bottom, like I mentioned earlier, the bottom of each letter is going to land right on that line that we laid out with our ruler. So that's kind of a good kind of thing to keep in mind as you're creating your letter here, creating phrases as well. So I created my first letter. And to start off on the piece of paper, you don't need to connect anything, just create your letters, right? So if you're looking at the template here, I know that the E looks something similar to this, right? Kind of a little bit smaller on top with a large loop at the bottom. L's are one of my favorite to do in calligraphy because you can make them as big and crazy as you want them to. And the beauty of calligraphy in general is that this could look anyway, right? It looks different almost every time I do something like this. And I think that's the beauty in it, that every single letter is always going to look a little bit different than it did before, which is 100% okay. I'm going to create my C with a little loop at the top. I like to have my O's here be a little bit smaller. I'm going to start creating the M. And again, now that we're using a piece of paper, you'll notice that this isn't perfect, right? And I'm not trying to make it perfect either, because I know that this is kind of my outline for my final acrylic sign. And then I'm going to create the same kind of E for the welcome like I did at the beginning of the word. So hopefully you guys are also kind of moving along with me and creating whatever phrase or event that you may have as well. Create this H, which looks pretty similar to my L. Nice big old loop here. Love to create a smaller O, the loop on top. Like anything you can do to make it extra loopy, makes it look a little bit nicer. And then my E. So now with my pencil, I have laid out kind of the outline and the calligraphy and the loopiness that I want it to look like. Like I mentioned before, currently the letters aren't connected all the way as they will be in the final product, but that is okay. So now that we have our first phrase on top, let's say you're doing kind of a secondary phrase at the bottom. So in my sense, that would be Jessica and John with that heart in the middle. I want to do that same sort of technique that I just did, right? Where the bottom of the letter is going to hit that bottom line that we have laid out with our ruler. And so I'm going to start here with Jessica. And like I mentioned earlier, I love doing lowercase for every single letter. For me, I just think it looks a little bit more delicate on these types of signs. And if you guys have an S in whatever phrase you're doing, it can look a little funky. So I like to create a full, kind of a small ring around the top, and then bringing it around with a loop at the end. So it looks almost like a cursive S, like a normal cursive S would. So here we go. We're going to create the I. See here. And then our A's. Alex, any questions come through yet?
No questions yet. I think you're doing a great job of explaining everything so everybody's following along.
Okay, great. So we're almost done with our sketching of it first. I'm going to create, in this sake, if you're doing something along with a wedding as well, I like this technique that I'm about to use, where I connect both words or both names, in this case, Jessica and John, with a heart, connecting the end of one letter and the beginning of the other letter with that heart. So I'm actually going to do that last, but you'll see how I do that in a second. So I have my.
We had a quick question.
Oh yeah.
Asking, when you kind of end your letter, so for example, the E, the A, do you have a general rule for how you end the tails? I know for the A in Jessica, you're connecting it with a heart, but typically how you go with your other letters, is there any specific way or maybe a technique you typically use?
That's a great question. So I'll just kind of draw a few options up here. We won't include this in acrylic sign. Here, I have another piece of paper. All right, so there's a few routes to go about this. You can do it, a few different ways. And like I mentioned, every calligraphy letter can look different. So let's do A in this case. You could do one way where it's literally just a loop at the end and it stops there. I'm ending the A a different way. I could loop it and maybe kind of loop it a little bit more towards the end of the page. I could even do something along the lines of creating the tail of the A and looping it around itself like that. Or I could even do some sort of like how I have the E here starting into the H. I could even do some sort of technique where I go through that letter as well. So it's really whatever you feel looks the best. I think on the final sign, having your starting letter and your ending letter be kind of have the longest tail out of the rest of them. I think that will give kind of the most whimsical look to your sign. Hopefully that helped answer your question.
Awesome, thank you. And then somebody asked kind of how you decide which ones are hanging in the air versus on the line. I think like with your O, you said you like making them a little bit smaller. Is it just kind of preference?
Yeah, I think it's personal preference. Letters like, let's get my scrap paper again. Letters like O, where it kind of wraps around itself, or letters like A, where it also has a circle. I think anything, if you're looking at the different letters here, anything suspended in the air I have right now are really my O's because it wraps around itself. Letters like, E, where it has that bottom lip to it, or the C, or even kind of the edge of the M here, I like to have those touch the line because I know that the tail of it is going to connect to the next letter. So in this scenario here with my O, I think I had the option here of keeping it suspended in the air without looking like an A. So I connected it to the next letter that way. But things like, this W or the E, where it does have that kind of long tail at the bottom, I would keep that kind of as close to the main line as you have. I think the S's here, same with the J, kind of have a unique circumstance where similar to these L's and this H, where you have the option to create some sort of like loop like that. I kind of took creative freedom there and said, you know what, I want this to go a little bit past my line where the rest of my letters are resting on, at least the bottom of it. Hopefully that helped answer your question as well there.
Sure. Thank you. We've had some people asking if you could do a few other letters. I know we don't have too much time, but I think you mentioned a practice sheet that they could use, right, to learn some other letters.
Yeah, and hopefully you guys have the practice sheet digitally. Hope you have access to that. If you don't, you can get access to it after the class. I'm trying to think of ones that I don't have here. So A, if you guys are doing a B, give it the same technique as your H. So if
I know specifically they asked B and an R. So if you don't mind showing those two really quickly, but Felicia also put the practice sheet in the chat. So hopefully they can use that as well.
Perfect. You said B as in boy?
D as in dog.
Oh, D. Okay. So I would take your D as similar as the L as you can. So if you see my technique here with the big loop around, I would do almost the same thing. So start it like your A, right? Start it how I have this A here. So just a circle. And then I would create the rest of it with that technique for the L. So just like that, and then connect the pieces there. So what's cool about calligraphy is almost all the letters kind of have different techniques similarly within them. So like I mentioned, this could look fairly similar to this. The D looks similar to the start of the A, and then the complete image of the L. And then the other letter you said was R, right? So we could do this a few ways. We could either do the R with a cursive R like that. So it could look like your standard cursive R. Or if you want to do something a little more crazy, you could start it off like how I have here. Does this look like any other letter? Let's see. Not really. This guy's a little unique. So I have kind of the edge of the R here. And then I'm going to take a little bit of freedom there with creating the top of it. And in this case, I know we like to connect all the letters, but with the R, you know, the best way to connect it to the next letter is going to be your cursive route. But if you wanted to do this route where it looks more like a standard R than a cursive R, I would suggest not connecting it to the next letter and just letting it free hang. So what I mean by that is, oh, what's a word that has R in the middle of it? Sharpie.
Air.
Air. Let's do Sharpie because that is a wonderful brand. So if I had Sharpie here, so I would create, take the other side of this. So I would create my S, H, and see right now I'm not really connecting them for the time being. My R, so I'm gonna go the second technique I had. It kind of has that little loop at the top. My P, I, and then the E. And so if I were to go ahead and actually start connecting them, I would do it this way. It doesn't look perfect right now, but like I said, calligraphy is not supposed to be perfect. So something like that, if that makes sense. So this was the only letter that I left disconnected. Did that help answer that question?
Yep, I think we're good. Thank you so much.
All right. So you guys are probably learning that my letters are going to look different every time as much as yours are. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep moving, create the John here. So J is going to look similar to how I have the Jessica. My O is suspended in the air, like I mentioned I like to do. The H is going to look the same as home. And then something like that. So in regards to the heart that I had created in the middle, connecting both, if you were doing something like this for a wedding and you want to connect these two names, what I would do is on your scratch piece of paper, find the exact middle, which in our case is kind of easier to find since we have these overlapping pieces of paper. So my middle is about right here. I'm just going to go ahead and create a little sketch for that heart. Right, so there's my heart there. And then now I'm actually going to use my eraser. If you guys have one, this is always great. I'm going to use my eraser and then begin to connect the bottom of the A into some point in the heart. Does not look perfect. I'm going to kind of sketch it to the point where I want it to be to make it a little bit more smoother. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the J. So in this case, I'm actually going to take the top of the J and connect it that way. And I'm going to want to connect it at some point in the bottom. Oops. And I'm going to connect it up that way. And so now it is not perfect, but I have my outline for the welcome home with the Jessica and John connected by that. And then finally, if you want to include something on the bottom with either a date or more of maybe a description of the place you guys are going to be at. In this case, I'm just writing first home. And you know what? I didn't want to use calligraphy for first home. I wanted to use these kind of funky tall letters here, where in this case, all I'm doing is making the letters look like they are very tall. So any part of the letter that is going to connect is happening at the very top of the letter rather than in the middle or towards the bottom, like how it normally would look. Right, so if we create a normal H, the line in the middle would be connected here, but in this case, I'm putting it all the way up here. My little M, and then a normal E, my third line would be there, but in this case, I'm putting it up there. It kind of gives a fun little ad lib design to it as well. 2021 in my normal handwriting. All right, so we'll give everyone a second to kind of finish that up as you finish your sketch. And then we're going to go ahead and actually transfer this onto our acrylic sign. This is the exciting part. So wherever your sign is, I would grab it, it's on the floor, or if it's in a different room. I know mine came with a little bit of packaging on it, a little plastic wrap, just to keep it clean. I would take that off, obviously. And so you'll notice here that all I'm trying to do is center my piece of paper, my sketch, onto the acrylic sign as best as I can. So for me, this looks pretty good. And hopefully you guys are done with the sketch. Like I mentioned, if you're not, or if you want to do multiple signs in the future with these different types of letters and the technique, you can always watch it back and do a sketch out differently in the future. All right, any questions before I get started on this part?
Nope, not yet.
All right, so hopefully your Sharpie paint marker is primed. For today, I'm going to use the purple. White last time, and you know what? I'm just trying to be a little bit more fun this time. So my marker is primed, as you can see. The purple ink started flowing through the tip, like I mentioned. I did that technique where you shake it, and then you kind of press it down to get the ink starting to flow. So with the Sharpie paint marker, this is obviously more permanent. So if you make your hand kind of slips on the paper for a second, or the letter is not as perfect as you want it to be, the cool thing about calligraphy as well is we're actually kind of fix all of those mistakes, or maybe not mistakes, but letters that were not as clean as you wanted them to be after our first coat. So we're actually going to go through this a few times, not just once. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. So if your acrylic sign is lined up how you want it to be with your piece of paper underneath, I would take the edge of the intro into your first letter and make that as kind of wide and long as possible as you can. So for my sake, I'm going to move this a little bit angled, so that'll help me. Hopefully everyone can still see that. Go. All righty. I'm going to do this like that. And all I'm doing is I'm tracing my previous work. You might hear it be a little squeaky because mine is as well. And like I have it before, I haven't connected my letters yet. We'll do that at the very end, don't worry. All you're doing here, tracing your previous work. If it's not perfect, like I just did there, that is totally fine. I'd recommend also kind of having a light touch to it. If you're too serious about it, and if you're really pressing hard, there's a higher chance that it might not look as whimsical as you want it to be. If you have a light touch to it, then you're most likely going to have a more whimsical look. And hopefully on the acrylic sign, the Sharpie paint marker, like how mine is now, is very smooth to the touch. Okay, so I got my first phrase there. I'll go. I'm going to go with my home. Again, I'm just tracing my work that I did before. There we go. That is the very first step. This is not done by any means. I'm going to do that exact same thing for the rest of my phrases here. Like I mentioned, keeping it light to the touch as you can is going to make sure that this turns out more free flowing and whimsical. Keep using that word, but I really do mean it. Okay. I'm actually going to connect this A right off the bat to the heart. Just like that. There we go. Nice and smooth. All right. Hopefully everyone is feeling good about this part so far. Excuse me. And before I do this first home, I'm actually going to finish the rest of the letters on top. So the good thing about this paint marker is it actually dries pretty quickly on this acrylic. So I would, before you go ahead and do kind of that second coat that I mentioned, just test it out with a light touch and make sure that there's no kind of extra wet parts to it. So when you go over it, making sure that your arm doesn't, get any paint on it or it smears the rest of it. So this is the fun part of it. The biggest part of calligraphy, the thing that makes it look most like calligraphy, is going to be enlarging different pieces, different areas of the letters. So what I mean by that is, let's start with our W. So right now, everything is the same line width. I'm going to go ahead and kind of create a space where I'm going to go ahead and fill in to create that thicker line width with the W. I'm going to go ahead and do that same thing with this bottom loop here. So what I'm doing here is just creating the outline for where I'm going to fill the rest of the paint marker in, and then filling it in from there. So with my E, I'm actually going to take, I mentioned this earlier, you're going to take the left side of each letter and enlarge that side. So you notice the left side of this W loop, that's what I enlarged. The left side of this middle one I enlarged. The left side of the E I'm enlarging. Like I mentioned, you're going to connect them last. That's going to be your very last step. I think one of the better things about this too is you can make the line width as thick or thin as you want it to be. That's kind of what makes every phrase that you're going to draw with this calligraphy a little bit unique. All right, so if I'm doing the C here, I'm marking that entire left side of the thin line width. Same thing with the O here. Excuse me. I'm actually going to do the same thing in the middle as well for this O and make it real thick. So this M is going to act fairly similar to the W, where I kind of have that triangular shape connecting on the top. That's getting me to get that kind of line width there. And you want to make sure your thick line widths are consistent, right? So if you're doing them on the left side of the letter, continue that on the left side of the letter for the rest of your piece. If you're doing them on the right, that's fine. Just make sure it's on the right for the rest of your piece as well. We already created our E, so that guy's going to be thick. All right, so we've created one full phrase, and it has that nice calligraphy look to it now with the thicker parts of the letter and the thinner parts of the letter being the ones connecting it. I'm going to go ahead and start my H here and treat it similarly how I treat the L. And as I'm going through this, I have another fun fact for you guys. Not thoroughly as concentrated as I am. My fun fact for you guys here is, when did the first Sharpie ultrafine marker come out? Feel free to put your response in the chat if you're not as thoroughly concentrated as I hope most of you are. But if you have a free second to lift up your head, answer, when did the first Sharpie ultrafine marker come out? We know when the Sharpie markers in general came out, but the ultrafine was our kind of second invention.
Okay, we're getting a few guesses in the 1970s, 1977, 1979, 1975, and we got a 1997 as well.
Oh, wow. Everyone is, again, pretty on par, pretty on par with what the answer was. It is 1989. I see someone just put in 1989. Great guess. That is the answer. Personally, I love a good Sharpie Ultrafine. You can't get past the classic Sharpie Fine. Another thing I want to point out too, because I'm noticing it as I'm going along, dried Sharpie paint might be a little bit darker of a color than when you're going back and filling it in. That's totally fine, because when it all dries, it's going to dry the exact same color. So right now, I can tell because I'm here in person, but if you can tell on my video camera, the dry paint is a little bit darker tinted wise than the wet paint when I'm going through and adding in the thicker areas of the words. All right. So I'm actually going to start connecting these letters up here before I go ahead into the Jessica and John part. And so when I say connecting the letters, I'm talking about kind of making it look like it was one cohesive cursive piece that you wrote out. So with the E, what I'm going to do is just go ahead and connect the E over to the L. And the technique I like to use here is start kind of in the middle of the letter somewhere. So with the L, I'm actually going to start over here. And with a light touch, connect those two letters. This just enhances and ensures that it looks like it was one kind of smooth write out rather than a choppier one. I'm going to connect, I already connected my O to my M. I'm going to connect my M to my E here. And follow the same path that you were following before, that you were kind of creating beforehand. Again, that's going to make it look a little bit smoother. So mine was angled up a little bit, so I'm going to make sure to connect it with that same angle. All right. Now, if you look at the welcome home part, everything looks fairly cohesive. And I have everything connected as well. And I have the thicker parts of my calligraphy to make it look whimsical. We have about 8 minutes left. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on. Kind of power through this last part. Same technique as I was using above. Just creating thicker parts of the line, making everything a little bit thicker and more calligraphy-like. And again, since this is intro to calligraphy, you know, I try to make this as easy as possible for you guys who are definitely some are beginners. And so this to me is kind of one of the easiest ways to approach calligraphy, by starting off with simple cursive letters and then making it into the calligraphy piece that it is, and the hand lettering piece that it is. And you can kind of copy the same techniques. If you're doing letters that I'm not doing, copy the same techniques that you did on letters prior, or even that I'm doing. Good to look at, make it look semi-consistent, even if everything does look a little different. All right, so I just created the Jessica. And at this rate, you can go ahead and take apart the sketch that you have at the bottom, because you already have the main part of your sign already laid out. Oops, I didn't do the first home. Whatever, that's okay. Totally forgot about that until right now. That is totally fine. Maybe I'll just freehand that one. All right. Trying to finish up the rest of the letters here. Thick parts to the thin ones. All right. And then once I have that all done on my second part of my phrase, I'm just going to go ahead and connect the letters like I did last time. There we go. Connected Jessica, and now I'm connecting the letters for John. And you'll notice here, right, if I think a certain part of my letter looks choppy, you have full freedom to go back and just add a little bit of space around it and fill it in. That's the beauty of this. Even if you thought you messed up a little bit, you think something looks choppy, you can always go back and just kind of add broader outlines to it. So I think my heart looks a little unsymmetrical, so I'm trying to make that a little more symmetrical by just making it a thicker heart than it was last time. All right. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and freehand the first home part. I know I wanted to do my tall letters.
Up a little bit so we can see. I think your head slightly getting in the way of the overhead camera.
I'm so sorry. Thank you for pointing that out.
Oh.
All right. And again, if you're doing
getting on how this all out, so people are loving it.
Okay, great. All right. And my advice to you guys to have a mixture of text and calligraphy if you are doing something that requires a lot of letters to kind of make it look less overwhelming and make certain parts stand out over others. So for first home, I wanted this to kind of be a little bit smaller and less focused on, which is why I decided not to create as large calligraphy as I did for the other phrases. And so it should be a little wet when you first kind of fill in those thicker areas. But if you want to flip to the front camera, Felicia, I'm going to hold it up and show you guys. A little bit harder to read when I hold it up than the white one is. But if you guys are done, or even if you're not done, I would love to see your progress. If you want to hold up what you have right now, feel free. If you're too nervous to hold it up, that's fine. But whatever you have right now is probably looking beautiful. I hope you guys like the technique that I used here. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm starting to see some. It's looking really good, guys. Make sure once you are completely done with your sign, my few suggestions here are to either lean it up against, like I said, if you're using a light, if I used a white on this case, lean it up against a dark surface so that the letter pops. Or you could buy a easel back, which you can get at Michael's, and then lean this acrylic sign up against that easel back. And that'll help hold up the sign for the event, or if you're outside in a park doing this event, or like a picnic or something, the easel back would really help. But if you're inside, you can lean up against a window. That would be perfectly great too. So I would recommend when you guys are finished with your product, they look so beautiful from the few that I can see. I would recommend that you guys post it to social media, hashtag make it with Michael's, or use hashtag Michael's classes. I would highly recommend tagging Sharpie in it. Alex and I work with the social media team at Sharpie, and we will see if we can get you guys featured on the Sharpie Instagram if you go ahead and tag Sharpie in any sort of social media. So that's a cool thing to brag about if you end up getting reposted on our social media site. I hope you guys enjoyed this class. I would highly recommend signing up for any classes in the future. I've already taught 2 so far. You might see my face again. But yeah, I am so glad you guys spent your Friday afternoon with me, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a great event for whatever you're gonna use the sign for. Thanks again, guys.